What's good, y'all? So in this video, I'm gonna be reacting to Omizi. Paul Pierce is just Myron Gaines with a championship ring. Um, I don't know. The thumbnail has something to do with white women, but I'm not really sure what. So I guess we're gonna find out. Let's get into it.
Especially NBA players get with the white women? Is it because they're easy, quote unquote?
I got some theories, but I really want to hear it from him.
I do too. I want to hear it too.
I honestly think that maybe they appreciate maybe more and they apologize more.
Listen, I'm scared. Hold on.
I mean, you know,
I had an interview with
they don't mind being held accountable.
I never would have thought Celtics legend Paul Pierce was a Kevin Samuels disciple. This is just an amazing turn of events. I knew there's a reason why I never liked this black ass. So Paul Pierce decided to pick up the mic and not analyze the game, not talk about hoops anymore, but for some reason hop into the debate about middle-aged women, middle-aged men, and getting married. God, I swear, if these aren't the biggest recession indicators in the world, then I don't know what is. So the sad thing about it is, Paul Pierce, I don't know if you're familiar with this person, but you have somebody agreeing with you who you do not want agreeing with you. Like, you are on the wrong side of these conversations. If one person, and one person specifically, is agreeing with you in the conversation of dating, marriage, and black women.
And I'm not even just talking about athletes. I'm talking about great men in general. Do you think that the cultural differences or the race plays a role in whether or not men are attracted to them, or do you just think that it's culture by itself and the type of men that women go after?
So a lot of these guys play college first. When you're in college, a lot of the times you're in a white dominant, situation where you're an athlete, you're Division I athlete. The women are going to just gravitate towards the D1 athletes, and then when you're a basketball player or a football player at a Division I school, you're kind of at the top of the pecking order from a social status perspective. So what ends up happening is, let's say you did come from inner city, you were the top guy, then you
My fault. I still got it sped up from the last video. I was listening to Tokyo Tony talk about some bull crap. I couldn't do it. So sorry.
one school, you're not seeing Shaniqua and LaQuisha anymore. You're seeing, Becky. And
Bro, what? You talking about Shaniqua and LaQuisha? Why they don't ever give us like regular names? Like, okay, so I'm seeing a Carrie right here, a Mecca, Kamini. I don't know her name. My name's Nina. Like, damn, like we not all Shaquishas and LaQuisha Tishas. You know what I'm saying?
Jennifer from Midwest. So like your thing switches.
You
and men
Diddy.
like variety. So I think what men care about the most is, like, is this girl gonna be submissive, not be a pain in the ass? Because a lot of times when men make money and they acquire status, they acquire that money and status, and the first thing they do is get rid of problematic women a lot of the times, right? Because you don't make that kind of money and you don't get that level of status and want to come back and deal with a woman that's gonna sit there and argue with you. Like, the dumbest thing that women say is like, oh, you don't want a woman that challenges you? No, you dumb whore.
That's right. Myron Gaines and Paul Pierce have teamed up as to determining why high-value men, athletes, whatever the case may be, are picking the women that they are picking. White women and not necessarily black women. It's because they're dumb whores and they're submissive. Paul Pierce, please go sit back down with Kevin Garnett and Tony Allen and just talk basketball game. Now, the reason why I don't even like this rhetoric from Paul Pierce, especially, I don't like the rhetoric as a whole, but I definitely don't like this rhetoric from Paul Pierce because we know what his ex-wife looks like. He dates black women. I don't even understand why he's participating in this conversation. If somebody were to ask me the same conversation, the same talking point, I would say, you know what? I don't know. I don't date white women. I don't date outside of my race. I date black women. And I've never dated them. So I would have no clue. I would refute the narratives behind there being some sort of difference or anything like that. Why? Because I just wouldn't even know. But Paul, I want to be old and freaked out. Pierce is somebody who is staunchly against marriage these days. It's one of the reasons why he got fired from ESPN. Hell, the only reason why he got fired from ESPN, because he couldn't control him and his desires when he got into a hot tub with some young girls on Instagram.
Yeah, ain't they amazing? They amazing. He said the women are amazing. The women are amazing. Hey. Take that, baby girl. Hey.
I think it's interesting that when Paul Pierce flipped the camera, all the women were much younger than them. This is who Shannon Sharp should have been hanging around with. Paul Pierce is freaked out and he got fired from ESPN, but he still has no legal allegations against him. Oh, God. These old men are getting sick. Now, there seems to be some sort of theme when it comes to these quote unquote high value men and, these athletes, these former athletes, or whatever the case may be, is that they just don't like to date women their age. They have a problem with women, specifically women their own age, or even the concept of committing or getting married or something like that. Maybe it's because they got scorned in a trade or something like that. But
You're
Paul
not
Pierce
scorned in
later
a
on goes to
trade.
depict how he has a problem with marriage at this age that he's at right now. It's only for two types of people, he says: poor people and old people.
Because I like my peace, first of all.
What if a woman brings you that?
There's no such thing as that.
You don't think there's no such thing as a woman bringing
There's
man
no
peace?
such thing as somebody living with you on a day-to-day basis is bringing peace. It's always going to be something, because you're going to have a bad day where I'll have a good day, and that's not going to be peaceful for me. I'm going to come home like, damn, baby, like I had a good, something going to happen to where you going to hijack my emotions. So that's not peaceful. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Like, because I feel like every relationship shouldn't be based off sex, but every relationship is based off of that.
I don't think so.
100%. You can't tell me nothing different. This is what I feel, and that's why I'll never be in another relationship, because it's always based off of that.
So you're not going to be in another relationship?
Hell no. For what? Because it's going to be based off the sex. Once that wear down.
I don't know. Personally, I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I was an interview, okay, cool. That is your life, sir. Do what you do. You know what I'm saying? Did he say marriage is for old people? Ain't he old? But I mean, whatever. I don't know. Like, even when men say stuff about dating, like white women, like, okay, do what you like. I don't care. I don't really give a fuck. Do what you want to do. It is irritating a little bit when your reasoning has to involve black women and as a whole. Like, that's weird, and that's like, bro, like, shut up, like, whatever. But other than that, I don't. It's not enough to get me mad. Because to be honest, this whole ideology, there's plenty of black athletes, black wives, completely full black wives, with black families and all this stuff. There's a lot of black men that love black women. Social media has created this ideology that we are not desired in the slightest, and that is the farthest from the truth. Okay. So I don't, I think the same thing with like the gender conversations where it's like, oh well, like all of these like issues that are so prominent online, I have not ran into in real life. I just haven't. I just haven't. Like to the extent that you would think, since that's all mofos talk about online, you would think that this would be a daily freaking issue. I don't know. Maybe it's because most of the people feel like maybe it's the chronically online mofos that deal with this kind of stuff. But personally, I don't know. I'd be chilling. Life is fine. Like, it's okay. So whatever.
Marriage is for old people and poor people.
It's giving something. How old is he?
Okay, so let's get into that. Why?
Because when you broke, our parents, like my moms and all them, they married on a merit of like, okay, we're gonna put our incomes together, have all these
You
kids.
can do that without being married, but fine, I guess. That and to be honest, you're more like, marriage is just a big ass commitment. That shit kind of scary. Okay. Like, financially, I don't know. I've always been like good. So to put us financially together, you know, I don't know, something about that. And I feel the same way about the man. I just don't need nobody money, to be honest. So I'm not thirsty for like, oh, he's rich, I gotta get with him, let's get married. I do not give a fuck, to be completely honest with you. I don't care. Because most of the time, some dudes try to use that to control you, and I'm straight. You're not controlling shit.
Now, when you get old, somebody that to be by your side to take care of you.
Wait, hold on one sec. I got something for this because I like his jacket. So hold on. Okay. Now I feel like I can do this properly. Now,
Do I
Paul
have a
Pierce is
robe?
specifically speaking from a hurt man's perspective.
Nah,
That's why I don't
I
really
don't.
entertain the advice from these mega celebrities, ultra athletes, or whatever the case may be, because they just live in a different reality than I do. And I hate the fact that they even get questioned about relationships because they don't know any sort of normalcy. It gets put out to the masses then take it in for conversation, and then ultimately it becomes stupid talking points. Paul Pierce could have quote unquote any girl he wants in the world. Why should I, as somebody who is is a regular 9 to 5 employee be listening to what he has to say about anything relationship matter.
But even when it comes to that, it would be for the wrong reason. So it's not genuine, it's not love. It's like even those girls that were rubbing up and down on all the men, that's probably their job. And they want tips. They might not even be attracted to the mofos, but they doing what they gotta do for a check. Yeah. So
poor that he's talking about. Even though I may not technically be poor, I am poor to him. Like his ex-wife
Fact.
was the daughter of a former MLB player. Paul Pierce knows nothing about a regular life post him getting into like college. But it's crazy because a lot of the backbone of society is based on marriage, and whether it's for good or for bad is up to you to decide. But listening to Paul Pierce for advice is literally the last thing that you should be doing. But it's even worse when Paul Pierce finds himself being agreed with by the likes of Myron Gaines from Fresh and Fit. I promise you, if I ever say something that Myron agrees with, I'm gonna log off and retract whatever I said, even if it's something as simple as like, yo, the sky is blue. If he says the sky is blue, I'm taking it back. I'm changing my answers, because being aligned with a dweeb like Myron is just something that's not on my bucket list.
What do you say about the chat saying that you can't pull a black woman?
I would say, why would I? Why would I? You can have them, bro.
Why wouldn't you?
They could have them, man. I'm not competing for LaQuisha. You guys can have her, man.
Well, every black woman ain't LaQuisha. What you mean?
Look at the paid black actresses that Anton has up there that just sit through this rhetoric and nasty conversation from Myron. That's so disgusting to be able to just sit there like that. I don't know.
But when they say dumb shit like that, or you can't pull a black woman, like that's just like cope a lot of the times, because they're saying what that really, let me decode the stupidity for you. When people say dumb shit like that, translation, you're not willing to tolerate the bad behavior that naturally comes with a lot of black women. Because let's be honest, let's deal with the stereotypes here, right? I'm an open racist towards everybody. Let's deal with the black stereotypes. Black women are fat, loud, crass, annoying, have attitudes, and they don't respect male authority. There's a bunch of reasons for this, but I'll go over simply. The average black woman weighs 187 pounds. A lot of them are grow up in a single mother household where they're told every single day, niggas ain't shit. There is no patriarch in the family a lot of the times. This is
my mother never said that. But maybe this is somehow factual and it's just my mom. My mom is the only one that didn't say it. You know what I'm saying? My mom never, ever said it, unfortunately. Because maybe I wouldn't have been done as dirty as I've been if she was just like, you know what I'm saying? Just gave it to me straight. She didn't. She was always optimistic and positive.
all day. And then the black men that are in their
Oh, people mistake me like having to compute stupidity for me getting annoyed and bothered. I don't care. I don't, like I don't really care about who he wants or even what he says, but it's stupid. And that's what the problem is. Sometimes stupidity, I'm just like, damn, like that's just dumb. You know what I'm saying? I'm not offended. It's just dumb. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know what?
of the times, not every single time, but a lot of the times they're criminals, they're fathers that weren't there, they're crooks, and it's just like a never-ending cycle where there's no real patriarch
Criminals.
in.
We're the criminals? Is that what he's saying? I'm a criminal? I have a very clean record, bitch. I mean, pristine clean. Mr. Clean.
Then they're becoming extremely masculine. Now, this is fantastic when it comes to survival, getting a job, making your way through life, but this is terrible when it comes to attracting masculine men.
The literal overgeneralization of Myron's talking points,
So
and the
overly
talking points, and
generalized.
all
And
these
what's crazy is all them black women didn't, hi, my old bitch, won't acting like sexy right up in that. They sat and listened to the dumb shit that came out of his mouth. You know what I'm saying? They listened to the dumb shit that came out of his mouth. Nobody was argumentative, so I don't know. I think that dispels his, and I feel like that dispels some of his argument right there. But
about black men, black women, marriage, literacy, education, all this other stuff, just overgeneralizations in general will be the death of us. I'm truly surprised that Anton
and black women are the most educated uh demographic in the US. I just want to make that known since no one acts like that's a real thing. We always gloss over that.
literally higher than anybody else. But just and I'm all for anti like being traditional and stuff like that. Like if you don't want to have kids, don't. If you don't want to get married, don't. I don't care. Feel like do what you want to do to make yourself happy. Um, that's why I don't understand why people try to argue it because like I feel like it's kind of similar to like sometimes people's like religious views. I think moral views and like the views people have on life, like it's really like they're in that state of mind for a while until they somehow transition or maybe they won't transition out of it. But you're not going to change their mind, you know? I feel like the only person that could change their mind would be possibly like maybe a family member or maybe a partner and they're falling in love and they want to have a family now or whatever, or they want to be married or whatever. But other than that, there's no reason to debate, to be honest.
Who I know has a very strong hold over his family, whether you agree with it or not, did not step in and say something in this moment. This is not a race thing. This is individualistic. Well, he is all about the culture and all that stuff. But I just find it so silly that nobody
Who?
interrupted him. He covered his ass well enough with the not all, but most, but some of the time, and not
No,
all.
I think
Dog,
it's
get off.
good. I honestly think it's good because I don't think that it's even worth getting mad at. You know what I'm saying? Maybe somebody should say something afterwards, but don't even argue with him. Like it's really a waste of your time because he's not again not going to change his mind. So there's no point. There's no point. You can even catch him in like a bad spot, and I feel like somehow like a lot of I don't know if he's a narcissist or not, but a lot of manipulative people will try to figure out a way to make it, like if one of the black women started saying something, then he could be like, see, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not mad at it. Be real.
Offense. And it's funny because he's usually more openly racist than he is on these platforms. But I guess since he's surrounded by black
I'm about
people
to
who would
say he
probably deem
usually is way
themselves as like
worse.
strong, successful voices, he didn't say too much. But Myron, that was a little bit of a softball, even for you. He went down that whole absentee father, single mother, parent, household trope. Well, we know that that's at a
Even the
30.
reasons for it, I was like, what's going on? Why he acting like this? Because he usually is like I mean, just the highest of ignorance possible. Um, and he just wasn't. He won't act like that. It was very interesting.
You're low. So why do you keep perpetuating these same talking points? And I guess that's the red pill community. That number is like at 76% of kids who have their father in the household. So why we keep going with this same old song and dance? I guess because it's not at 80% or 90% or 100%, which is great. But stop making it seem like it's in the inverse where 70.
Also, the same statistics for black marriages, both parties are black people, is higher than um marriages between a black person and a non-black person. So like I said, this is very it's social media issues. The shit's not real. It's not real.
Of people are growing up without their fathers. That shit is stupid. And I personally believe that Myron's
My daddy won't
generalizations
dare.
are
I'm
due
gonna
to
be
his
honest.
own shortcomings. Like you don't have
He's
to
trying to be
deal
here
with
now
the
though.
Shaniquas or Letitias because again, you're on stage with black women who I would assume don't fit that criteria in that mold. The ones that are not overweight because they didn't look overweight. The ones who, aren't on Instagram, aren't perpetuating these same stereotypes, listening to that fuck nigga free music, all that stuff like that. You don't have to participate with women like that. Yet Myron keeps talking about those same talking points. Maybe it's because that's all he surrounds himself with when he does surround himself with women. Maybe it's because Myron doesn't necessarily even like women. Like, I don't want to be one of those people that pushes the DL narrative, but I saw this tweet where he talked about these white women in this picture because, he's racist towards all women. And it showed that he was even critical of white women.
Why are all the same person? Holy shit. No originality or interesting personality traits at all. Attractive, but literally useless. If you've been with one, you've been with them all. I'm starting to feel the same way. Because I thought he was pro. You feel me? Not pro, but pro. We not pro anything? Okay. Maybe he's pro. I don't know. I don't know. Pro men? Yeah.
they lack originality. Once you've seen one, you might have seen them all. Now, I will say the white guys are not having none of that because they cooked Myron up for this sort of toxic rhetoric that it comes towards women. But I don't understand how people don't see it's as clear as day that Myron Gaines actually does not like women, like at all. If he's this critical, I mean, at every
And
twist
very
and turn, he's judging
hypersexual.
every single woman, and it just
That's
seems
a
like he always wants to
sign.
hang out with his bros and his boys. People have to question that. Do you really like girls, dog? Do you really like girls? And for Paul Pierce to get his, talking points acknowledged by Myron, maybe it was indirectly, but to get him acknowledged by Myron, I would think that is something that I would probably think about. But I think that there's something more to the Paul Pierce situation. He seems a little bit hurt, he seems a little bit bothered by all types of women himself.
Peace is peace. And peace is me by myself. I come home, I watch TV, I make my own food, I go to bed, I work out, I wake up at 5:30, I roll over in the bed, I lean this way, I fart, whatever I do, whatever, in my bed, that's peace. I'm cool. I can let loud snore, whatever. I ain't got nobody complaining about nothing.
Look, Paul Pierce, you are a 40-plus-year-old man. You not understanding that you can have peace and cohabitate, you don't have that type of mentality, has to be some sort of mental illness. You must lack emotional intelligence. Now, I will say it seems to me that Paul Pierce is talking from a place of being hurt. He's been divorced. He's been down that beaten path. He's seen that song and dance and that show before. So why would he then turn to be married to somebody else later on in life? The divorce rate is higher than giraffe pussy, right? Like, why would I want to go down that path? And I've got a lot to lose. I've turned myself into a media megastar after the fact, and I don't want to end up having my whole empire taken away from me. The response to that is simple. I don't even think that there's really anything wrong with being alone for the time being. I think that you can have your cake and eat it too at that moment, etc., etc. Hey, go live your life. You still popping to some degree. Fuck it, be out in the streets. But what happens oftentimes to these older dudes that bring in these younger women is that they get exploited and taken advantage of. The same
That's what I was
women
saying.
that
It's
you
not
are
for the
so aware of, so
good
discouraging of,
reason.
so etc., of, somehow, some way you still get taken advantage of. We've seen his
Yeah.
co-host to his popular podcast, Kevin Garnett, be taken advantage of by his ex-wife and his girlfriend. Mind you, in
Wait, Kevin Garnett's ex-wife is getting $100,000 a month in child support. Wanted a $5 million payout. His advisor stole $77 million from him. Hey, I'm not gonna lie, this a flex that you got this money to steal. I'm just being honest, but like, damn. And now this. Kevin Garnett's girlfriend, Tiara Candelaria, whatever, apologizes for calling the police on him at 2 a.m. over a domestic dispute. They low-key look the same age though. But okay.
it doesn't even say ex-girlfriend, it's his current girlfriend. That this is still somebody who continuously does these childish games to him, but hey, he's got somebody popping on his arm. Or you could end up like everyone's freaky Uncle Shannon Sharp, talking about your sexual
He ain't
escapades
my
live on television,
uncle.
getting with some young girl like you have in the back of your Instagram videos, and ending up with some Tony Busby trumped up lawsuit claiming that you did these things as an attempt to extort you out of your gains. Monique might have been joking to Shannon Sharp when she said, get you an old fat girl that'll make you some greens, but there's some truth to that.
Let me tell you what my baby need. He need him an old fat gal who can bake good cakes, make some smothered turkey wings, who gonna rub his feet at the nighttime, okay, and gonna have a sip of his cognac to make him feel better about himself when he come home at night. That's what Shannon need. You don't need no 26-year-old girl.
Men succeed and thrive in
Facts. But no, he didn't need a 26-year-old girl. Apparently, he needed a teenager. So
percent or something like that. There becomes some sort of peace and stability. And I hate that these men get on these platforms and push this rhetoric and narrative as if marriage isn't some good thing, especially for them. People see
a
married
lot of
men
people, I
differently
feel like
than single
marry
men.
like they're
People look at you, 40,
like
single,
a
out there
person
in
they
the
knew
clubs,
before they were
popping it and
rich.
shaking it as a disgusting creep. People see
Yeah,
that
it's
40-year-old
disgusting.
man married, living a healthy lifestyle and taking care of himself as somebody who is respectable and commendable. Trust me, I've been in the club at 18, 19, 20 years old, and when I saw the older dudes, I looked at them as disgusting. It was kind of okay that you had the money and you was flexing or whatever the case may be, but everybody thought it was weird because come Father's Day, come any other day like Valentine's Day, you were doing the same things us young people were doing. You just had a couple more dollars than us. If that's the life you want to live, then that's fine. I don't think it's fulfilling, and also your ideology is going to line up with Myron Gaines. I don't know. You get to make the decisions, Paul Pierce. I would just advise you and any of these other former athletes to take the model of, I don't know, hella LeBron James or Gary.
Well, let's not talk about. Cause like Well, he does have like a loving family and everything, but there are allegations that LeBron gets around. But I get what he's saying for sure. For sure. And it does seem like it's coming from a place of hurt, definitely. Seems like, maybe he feels like he had a failed marriage and he doesn't want to get married again, which I think is fine. And again, I'm not here to try to convince anybody of anything. If he feels like he's not gonna have any peace, so be it. That's his life. So, but I do think trying to act like being around like these young women and oh, they like me. I don't think so, buddy. I think they like what you have and what you can offer them. And I mean, again, if that's cool with you, shoot, it is what it is. But anyways, y'all come subscribe. Y'all tell me what you think. Follow me on Instagram and I'll see y'all in the next one.